We all want to connect more with our kids, right? But at the end of the day, we're exhausted, we feel overwhelmed, we feel like there's so much on our plate. How could we possibly have time for connection and fun and laughter with our children when we feel like we're being torn into multiple pieces every day? So in this video, I'm going to show you and tell you how I connect with my children on those days that I feel really exhausted, some useful practical activities and tips that you can do, and I'm so excited to jump right into this video. But first, hello and welcome. If you're new here, my name is Julie. I'm an occupational therapist with a doctoral degree. I'm also a coach for moms. I help them to go from feeling overwhelmed and like things are not really working out, or they're trying to look for more time in their day to do what they need to do, to feeling a lot more calm, centered, and confident in their parenting. I also have 3 kids, aged 7, 5, and 1. So I know what it's like to be busy with kids all day, to want to do the things that you need to do and have to do, and also want to create this environment of connection with your children. So that's really what has inspired this video. If you are enjoying parenting content from me, please make sure that you subscribe. Click that little red subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up and a like, and share it with any moms who may be in the same boat, who may benefit from this information. And I also wanted to let you know that I have a newsletter and a podcast that go out weekly, so make sure you check out the description box below to see where you can find all of that. And with that all said, let's dive into the video of how you can create connection with your kids, easy ways that you can do every single day to bring your kids up in the environment that you really want for their childhood. So something that has been inspired by our travel of late is my love for coloring, but more importantly with my daughter. So I have a 5-year-old daughter. She's really into coloring, more than I think my son was, although he enjoys it too if we're doing it as an activity. And what also really propelled this forward is that I got one of these hidden picture books right here, and they have a lot of different pictures, and inside you have to find other pictures and then you can color them in. But it doesn't really matter what it is. We have like this fairy princess book. I like coloring books that are nice and clear and that you can tear out the pages. So when we go to restaurants, or if we're on a plane, or I don't know, we're trying to kill time, I can always rip out a page. She can have one, I can have one. Or what we've done before is in a restaurant, there was another family sitting next to us and they were waiting for their food. The kids were getting fussy, and I just tore out a page and gave it to them to color in as well, the kids. And I think the mom was appreciative, and it's just a great screen-free way of spending time, but it's also an amazing way to connect because coloring doesn't require a lot of thought. You can just like gradually do it. It's kind of meditative, and it's a great way to talk to your kids, ask them questions, get them to open up in times that maybe they wouldn't. So I also find it just really relaxing. And you know, I've been traveling a lot with my kids on a plane, and as much as I would love to watch movies or listen to podcasts or do my own thing, read a book on a plane, with a baby or, you know, a young child, that's basically impossible a lot of the time. But coloring, even my 1-year-old can try and color, my 5-year-old can color with me, and it's a way for me to pass the time on the plane, and it's just lots of fun. So I highly recommend always having a couple of coloring books in your bag to maintain your connection with your kids. Okay, something else that I have been doing is I have been reading books, especially with my 7-year-old, but this can be with any age, that I find interesting. So there are a lot of books out there that are, you know, non-fiction stories or subjects that are geared at kids. So you get like the Little Genius series, I think it's called that, where they'll have like famous people, but they're in a kid-friendly format. So they'll go over the story of Albert Einstein or Mother Teresa or Stephen Hawking or something like that, where you can actually learn as an adult. It's something interesting for you to learn, but your kids like it too. Because I think a lot of the time with reading, at least for me, might just be me, but a lot of the time I will read these books that I find, you know, I don't find them stimulating at all, which means it's a chore to read, and it makes it really hard. But I can actually form a connection with my kids when I have a book that we both enjoy the subject matter. So I even bought a science book for my son, and it's teaching me things that I've forgotten, or, you know, challenging me in different ways. It's helping us explain lots of vocabulary words, and it's just really fun. So I keep a book next to my bed, something that I feel like now he can start to understand and it is stimulating for me, and we can bond over that. Okay, this is more of a tip than buying something else, but hiding your phone. Man, oh man, I'm inspired by the people that don't have smartphones and go completely tech-free. That is not my life, at least not right now. And I do think there is a place for a phone, especially as a young mom or a new mom where you can't get out the house and you need connection. But it is highly addictive and it takes away your presence with your children. Your phone is always competing for your attention over them, and often your phone wins, unfortunately, like if we're being honest, right? Because it's designed to suck you in, and let's face it, kids are a lot and sometimes you want to escape your life. But hiding my phone away, I usually just put it in a drawer and then I kind of just naturally forget about it, because there is enough going on in my present life that I don't need my phone. Where, I don't have the time really to idly be scrolling, but if it's in my face, I'll probably do that ahead of my children, and that's not how I want to parent, right? And I find they don't behave as well, right? Which is understandable when they feel like they have to compete for my attention. And as they're getting older, they start to say things like, I want to watch TV, you look at your phone, like why can't I watch TV? And it's like, well, I can't just use the excuse of, well, I'm a grown-up and you're not, I want to model the type of behavior that I want in them, and I get it. Television is enjoyable and very addictive and requires nothing from you, no effort at all. So in some ways it's great when you're tired and just want to relax, but I don't really want my children watching lots and lots of TV. So it's a constant struggle, but try put your phone away in a place that you don't need it. If you have like an Apple Watch, for example, this is kind of a new addition for me, then if you're worried about not being contactable, you can set it up so that as long as you're in the same house as your phone, your watch will be able to, let you know if something's happening. You'll get texts from people if you choose to set that up, and calls. So it's not like you'll be uncontactable if that's what your concern is. I really feel like we use that probably more as an excuse than anything else. Putting your phone away is absolutely life-changing. It doesn't have to be forever, but for chunks of time, it is freeing. Just try it and let me know how you do. Something else that we have been doing as a family, which is really fun, is playing more games or board games. So it's taken time for us as a family to kind of get into board games because our kids have been a little young, and even now it's more my 7-year-old that's really into it, and the 5-year-old is really getting there. We've been playing a lot of Uno, which I think is really good for her, my 5-year-old, because it's teaching her numbers and strategies and concepts and turns and winning and losing, and even sometimes the 7-year-old gets upset when he loses, so it's got so many great lessons in there. It's just a great way to connect, and I never thought we'd be the family that plays games after dinner, but usually what we do is we put the baby to bed because she's a little disruptive with these kinds of things and she's too young, and then we will have some like 20 minutes, 30 minutes as a family of 4, just playing and laughing and just, being a little silly, and it's really, really great. And no one's asking for the TV, no one's asking to play a computer game or anything like that. They're really into it, and I love that, and I want to nurture that as a family, because it's a special time that we can all be together. I grew up with my dad working a lot, and he wasn't really at home during dinner time, and I think my husband had the same experience. So I don't take it for granted that we work from home and that we have a bit more flexibility, and that we can be with our kids, when they come back from school, and like before they go to bed, we can kind of eat together as a family many nights of the week, if not all, and I think that's kind of cool. All right, something new for us as well is listening to kids' podcasts. We really love super great kids stories. That's one of the ones that we really like, and there's another one that I can't remember the name of. I will try and link it down below, but we got a little Yoto, which is like a little audio speaker for kids. I'll grab it and show you. Okay, so here is the little Yoto. We got this as a Christmas present from Santa, and it comes with little cards. Story Shed is the other podcast that I really like. You put it in here and then you can turn it on and turn the volume and do all that stuff. And again, the stories are, the podcasts for kids are really nice because I feel like it engages their imagination. It's relaxing for us to listen to. Maybe you do this and you do like the coloring at the same time, and it's just a good way to wind down and connect as a family. You can ask questions based on what you hear in the podcast to get your kids' minds activated and thinking. And sometimes at the end of the day, or a lot of the times, you don't feel like reading a story because it's tiring, you're burnt out, you're feeling overwhelmed. You could pop on a podcast and then someone else is doing the reading, but you can still connect and bond over that. So I really like this little guy. Something else my daughter and I have been doing occasionally is getting our nails done. She really likes this. I never thought I would take a 5-year-old to get her nails done. I did it for her birthday, and it's just a way for us to connect and spend time together. And especially as one of 3 kids and being the middle child, I feel like I do need to make a concerted effort. And so by taking her out of the house and doing something just her and I, we are able to connect. It's fun for me. It's nice for me to be pampered a little bit too. She really enjoys it. So I think it's a great way to bond. Another thing we've been doing as a family to connect is we eat in a different place. So when the weather is nice, we eat outside, or we eat at a different table, or we can have a picnic on the floor. But my daughter, again, really loves setting the table. She likes to eat in a special place, have a special dinner is what she calls it. And it's just fun. Like, it just feels like a special occasion, even though we're having the same food we would have inside. We're just having it outside, and we're making a little bit more effort, like 1% more effort, walking like 10 steps further away from the kitchen, and it makes all the difference to set up a really nice family meal. The other thing I like to do with my kids is baking. Now here's the thing, when they were younger, and you guys might be experiencing this if you have younger children, baking, whilst sounds like a great idea in theory and like something a child will love, and they will love it, it's a lot of work for you as mom, right? And this whole video is about how you can connect when you feel exhausted. So what I would recommend is buying like a pre-made kit. I recently got a hamper for Christmas from someone, and it had all these pre-made cookies and gingerbread and muffins and scone mixes already mixed, and then all you have to do is add maybe the eggs or the butter or the milk or something like that, nothing too crazy. And it made me think, cooking with little kids, either you pre-make your own mix ahead of time, or you can go and buy them, and then you minimize the amount of steps that you have to do. And with a 3-year-old or 4-year-old or whatever, this is golden because they really want to stir and maybe like add something. They don't always have the patience to put in the baking soda and the salt and then the flour, and then it just goes everywhere, and it makes more mess and work for you. So when you're doing baking, find a simple recipe or pre-mix as many of the ingredients as you can ahead of time, or buy it. And then when you're ready to bake with your kids, have everything ready to go. Get them to do child-friendly things like putting the little muffin liners in the muffin pan. They love doing that. And like doing the final stir, teaching them how to crack an egg. That's great. And I think it's a good life skill. So do whatever you feel you have the tolerance for, but they really enjoy baking. And then, eating their creation afterwards. Spoke about this earlier, but puzzle books are really, really fun to connect depending on your child's age. You can get word searches for very young kids, crosswords, the hidden pictures books. All of these things are really, really fun as a grown-up. It's a bit of a challenge which keeps you interested, and you are teaching your kid, they're learning at the same time, and you're connecting over both of you trying to solve a problem or a mystery. Okay, then something else that I think is helpful, and I've spoken about this so much, is going to bed earlier as the grown-up. So what I've been trying to do is putting my kids to bed and then going to bed, not much later than them, so that I can wake up a bit earlier, or at least I can feel a bit more rested. Because let's face it, you can't be connecting with someone and feeling really in the zone when you are exhausted, right? And the best way to combat exhaustion is to sleep. Now, I still have a child, a baby that wakes me up. For various reasons, she will wake me up usually once or twice a night, and even if she doesn't wake me up, I'm usually awake just hearing the noises of the house or checking, or she'll cry, but I don't actually go to her. She goes back to sleep. Whatever it is, it's rare that I would get like a full night of sleep, 8 hours in one go. So a hack for this is to go to bed earlier. Then at least, like if I went to bed at 9 o'clock and I got woken up at midnight, at least I've had 3 hours of solid sleep, and I can probably function pretty well the next morning. But if I do go to bed earlier and I'm able to wake up earlier, I can do a lot of the things that are hard to do with kids around before they wake up, and that's really golden. But that's not always possible. You know, sometimes we go through phases where we need more sleep than other times, and I'm not against having a nap in the afternoon if it means you can still sleep at night, or getting, you know, patches of sleep if that's the way it has to be during this phase of your life. But really focusing on going to bed earlier will help you, because kids typically sleep best the first half of the night, and it's those like wee hours of the morning where things kind of just, the wheels fall off, right? So if you can go to bed at say 9 o'clock or 8:30, 9 o'clock, which sounds so early, but if you can go to bed at that time, get in a solid 3, 4, 5 hours of sleep, then when you get woken up by the baby at 2 in the morning, or the toddler pees in the bed, or someone is sick or something, you've already had like a decent chunk of sleep. Whereas if you only go to bed at 11 or 11:30 because you're scrolling on your phone, and then you try and do your 4 or 5 hours, and again the same thing happens at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m., you're not going to get any quality sleep, and you're going to feel like an absolute zombie, and it's going to be really hard to connect with your family. And then alongside this is your kids having a solid bedtime routine, which I've done many videos about. I will link up above and in the description box. You know what? Getting your kids to bed on time so that you can have time to yourself to regenerate, so that you can connect with them the next day, is crucial. I can't hammer on this enough, but having a solid bedtime routine where most of the time they're going to bed within 30 minutes of the same time every day will change your life over time, and will program them to have great sleeping habits. So this is not just about you not having time with your kids, like being away from them, and the only time away from them is when they're asleep. It's also about teaching them the skill of routine and sleep and independent sleep, and the importance of it, and how it makes their brains grow and their bodies healthy. So this is not just about you know, being on your own, which is great, and it's an important part of being a human being. But it is really, really important that your kids are getting a regular routine and a regular sleep rhythm. If you have any questions about that, leave them in the comments down below. Send me a DM on Instagram. I'm all about the sleep and getting kids to sleep as much as possible, but realistically. So I'd love to answer your questions if you have any. So I want to know from you, what are ways that you feel like you can connect with your kids? What are some things on my list that you might haven't thought of, or that you would like to add to? I'm always looking for fresh and new ideas. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Give it a big like, thumbs up, and share it with anyone who might be interested in ways to very easily incorporate connection into their days with their kids. These are very, you know, economical kind of things that you're doing anyway, but maybe you can do them with a bit more intention. And let me tell you, when you do really connect with your kids, spend the time pouring into them, they behave better, they're nicer people, you get to see all elements of their personality, you get to find out what they're interested in, you really start to create memories that are worth remembering, and I think that's really, really incredible. So I am very excited to see you guys in my next video. Let me know what else you want to see from me in this new year. I'm so excited. Remember, you have got this, you can do this. I know it gets tough, but together we can figure it out one little problem at a time. And I will see you soon.